Before we get started with today's show, I just want to remind you that you can save 10% on your order with Symphony of Balloons, a luxury balloon company that also offers a 360 camera. Just simply mention you heard about them on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by B. Waters Productions, where we preserve your life memories in high definition. Folks, I want to talk television this week. I sit back and I was on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And I saw something I did not like. That was the fact that one of my favorite shows, All American Homecoming, has been canceled. Now, I've been watching All American probably since 2019. I want to say like right before the pandemic, right? And that was a show. Shout out to my friend Archie. Her and I, we used to work together, and she put me onto the show. She actually said, um, "This is a show that you would like," and I was like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah." She told me it was on um, CW, and that actually was on Netflix. And she said she believed because she know I'm a big sports person, and I watched the show. And to be honest with you, I don't think I realized till maybe the next season, like, oh, this isn't a Netflix show. This is actually a a CW show. And ever since then I was hooked. There was a time when pro wrestling, WWE, was boring on Monday nights. It was like 3 hours. So I would dedicate that first hour, and this is before I was obviously working in wrestling full time, but I would dedicate that first hour to watching All American. And I got hooked. I got very, and I'm one of the people that when I find a television show, I stick with it, man. And a lot of times I'm not ready to let shows go, if that makes any sense. Now, I'll give you a good example before I get into the ones I'm gonna talk about today. The Game, the television show, it was a CBS show, started off on CW, I want to say it was. Yeah, it was CW at the time. And when it took a break. I guess they had some issues. They sold it or whatever, but it moved to was not as good. And recently, a year ago, me and my lady, we binge watched it, and I was like, "Man, this show it's better in a binge watch." Because when it left and it came back, it was like, eh. But when we watched it on a binge, I was like, "Oh, this is great." And we ended up finishing it. And then they added a new one, and I was, like, really excited about that one. I remember that came out in 2021, the one on Paramount, but I haven't been able to find it. So if anybody find it, let me know. So, that was a show that I just had an issue. Like, I knew it was bad, but I was like, I gotta stick with it." So, All American Homecoming, it was the spinoff show, and they canceled it. I thought the show was good. I will admit I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but I also, or I should say the original one, but I also understood that it kind of had to like get its legs going, right? It was one of those shows that is the reason why I was in the summer, and I'm glad they didn't air it at the same time, right? Like you didn't watch All American and then watch All American Homecoming. And I felt like the stories was good. I was hooked. But I was sitting there and I looked on social media this week and I saw a lot of people calling for All American to be canceled. And I'm like, what's the problem? Because I saw some people say, wait, they ain't in college yet or they ain't in the pros. And I personally was happy because I thought, okay, the show probably gonna end once they go to college. Yeah, go to college. And it didn't. I didn't like, spoiler alert, I'm about to spoil some things. I didn't like Tay Diggs' character dying. Didn't like that at all. And you could tell because it was out of left field. Like he was a healthy father. He had been through the I guess they got divorced or they was getting about to get divorced and they made up and all that stuff. Like he got through so much adversity. He helped and then it was just like some random like bus issue and he went to go save a player, but he didn't make it. So it was like, all right, why did they do that? Obviously, it's like that's gotta be some behind the scenes stuff. But I still enjoy the show every Monday. Or, I don't watch it live no more just because I gotta watch Raw. So I'll watch it Tuesday morning and I'm enjoying it. And I was looking forward to seeing where this whole story went with All American Homecoming. On there, you have Simone, who's the main, it was kind of built after her because her and Jordan were her and Jordan were an item. They was married, and then she had to go to this college and all of that. And I wanted to see a little bit more crossover, but I also understood why they didn't because you wanted to let these characters kind of breathe on their own. And then the whole thing with Damon and JR, and especially his baseball. So I enjoyed it. I don't know why they canceled it, but I will say that it kind of makes me wonder about the regular All American, you know. And like I said, I knew it was going to draw fewer ratings, and that's what they said is the reason, according to the internet. But that's what they said. It drew fewer ratings. So it's sad because I also hate the fact it's a HBCU on there. Like it was representing HBCUs. So what's the show now that we have? Like at one point we had the quad, right? And the quad was something again I was getting hooked to, but then it was gone. Now some people may be out there saying, "Man, you like a lot of bad television." But again, once I get hooked to a show, I tend to stay with it. You know what I mean? Like some other shows, if you looked at the thumbnail, you'll see Empire. Empire was a show that I feel like somebody posted us on Twitter. One day we stopped watching and never came back, but I had to finish it. After everything with Jesse Smollett, it was terrible. But the show was already getting ready to end, to my knowledge. But they had to cut out a couple of the last parts, so that finale just it felt rushed. Like I know a lot of shows don't have the greatest finales. I did like Scandals. Now I'm in the midst of rewatching that, and I always said there was the one season I could have taken out, but I'm in the midst of rewatching that one. There is also um How to Get Away with Murder. I was like, what's the other show? It wasn't a spinoff, but Shonda Rhimes, shout out to her. That was another show that was like, okay, take that one had a great season finale. I think it had the right amount of time. But I wonder how long is too many how long is what's the amount of seasons, right? When you think about television shows, what's the amount of seasons? How long is too long? I believe, yeah, All American, All American Homecoming will end on its third season. We are currently on the sixth season of the flagship All American show, and it has been renewed for a seventh. Now, with this one, I feel like we got to see Spencer James go to the NFL, right? And people saying it's bad, but I'm enjoying the story with him and going through college, winning, or hopefully will win. Yeah, did they win? Yeah, I believe they did win. Yeah, they won the national championship. I think some parts you may feel like, okay, this is the end, right? But then now we in the process of him going through the draft and signing an agent. Now I want to see how the NFL career turns out. His little brother. I'm interested in his story. I'm interested in Jordan and Layla's story. So it's a lot of stuff. Obviously, Spencer and Liv. I love them too. So I want to know for the All American fans out there, what do y'all think? But again, how long is too long? Is 7 seasons too long? Do you wish the show would have ended? Are you enjoying it the same way I am? Like I said, I'm enjoying it, but I want to know, are you? Another one of my favorite shows ending this year. The season finale has started. I haven't watched it yet, but Power Book 2 Ghost. Yeah, I'm not happy about that at all. Now, I know when you really break it down, this is what, like a 10-year story? You figure 6 seasons plus 4. We literally watch Michael Rainey, aka Tariq, grow up. He was a little badass kid. Now he's, an adult. Will he die? That's the thing. But and again, I know me personally, I probably got separation issues. But I can't say like I think just like, okay, knowing that this is it. But the best part is, okay, I know we're gonna get a proper finale, right? It's those shows that like they snatch the wool from under you. It's like, oh, come on. One of the Survivor's Remorse. Y'all remember that? That was the show. I was upset. I was very upset because I really enjoyed it, but they took it away from us. Deception years ago. They had one season with Megan Good, and they took that away. But knowing that Power Book 2 will get a conclusion, I'm fine with that. Now, I'm interested because I know a lot of people ain't rocking with Power Book Force. And then there's Kanan, Raising Kanan, which is really good. I really love that show. Now, the best part about that is it's a prequel. So, of course, we all want to know, when will Kanan meet Ghost and Tommy? So that's the interesting part. But they did say one thing: power never ends. So how far will we go with this? And then the last TV show that I do want to mention, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh, wait, no, I do. I'm tripping. This is the end. Another one, The Shy. Now, I saw a lot of people saying it's bad, but they can't stop watching. I think they added a little bit too much shenanigery on this one. I don't know why you had to have a pastor who comes in and with his wife, why she got to be mingling with Jake. And the fact is, especially the pastor's wife and Jake, like, why is that messy? Come on. Now, I get Jake. I do like that he's so honest because everybody has a friend like him. And I've always said, like, when I watch the Shy Group, right? With Papa, Jake, and Kevin. I always said that was me, my boy Rashawn, and my godbrother Michael growing up. Now, I'm not gonna tell y'all who was who, but I always thought that when I saw like their dynamic, and then there's like the other people on the show that, you know, they the other friends, I should say, they're there, but they're not like in that clique. But I have to say this: somebody gotta take out Duda. Cause dude is a bad man. I think he's the biggest villain on television. Somebody let me know. I'm not a big TV person as far as like I watch every single series and every single show. But of the shows I just named, oh, Duda is the worst. Duda is the absolute worst. And it feels like he's just so cocky and arrogant with it. He get all in your face and he know you can't kill him. He just know it. So, oh man, like somebody gotta take him out. They gotta take him out. But I enjoyed The Shy. I'm interested to see how this ends. You know, of course, coming out in 2018, Power was like in its prime, so people was like, oh, "Okay, is this like Power, whatever, whatever." But I never looked at it like that. I did respect that it was a Chicago-based show, and I enjoyed it. And they had the issue with the one actor, so they had to kind of transition out of him and keep the story with somebody else. So I thought they did an incredible job with that. But overall, 6 seasons, it's fair. It's like, all right, yeah, it's one of those things, and I think for me, and I was told, especially because I watch The Young and the Restless, I like long-term storytelling, and one thing about soap operas, they just keep running on. Now, I'm currently bored with The Young and the Restless right now, but it's at a point where I watch it, like, I turn it on because I gotta go through it as it plays while, like, I'm working, editing or writing, but it's not where I'm like, "Oh, man, I gotta pause it," like I do with The Chi or All American. I'm not gonna work and have those shows playing in the background. That's where The Young and the Restless is at right now with me. But let me know some of your favorite shows, some shows that you felt went on too long, that you felt should have ended sooner, or some shows that you were very disappointed that they ended. And speaking of television shows, the end of an era for Wheel of Fortune. This was, as I record on Friday night. Tonight was the last time Pat Sajak be on there. He said 41 years. And congratulations to him. I think about life, right? So I'm 37, I'll be 38 this year. Growing up in my grandmother's house, well, I grew up, my parents' house, but going over my grandmother's house as well as being at home, there were a lot of mutual shows you could find, right? The Younger and the Wrestlers, the news, the mutual shows, obviously wrestling, but the game shows. There would be times where if it was during the day, The Price is Right was on with Bob Barker. But then at night or the evening, dinner time, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Pat Sajak, Vanna White, Alex Trebek. These were people who are iconic to my childhood. And not only were they around, but then seeing them in my adulthood. Now, I'm not one to turn on Wheel of Fortune every time it's on, right? Or Jeopardy or Price is Right. But sometimes, like, flipping through channels, oh, let me see what they're talking about. Or let me see what what these questions are about. Jeopardy was always fun because you could play that in school. Wheel of Fortune is kind of hard to get the wheel and all that stuff. Same with Price is Right. I did have a Price is Right board game now. And my grandmother, when she first got her first computer, there was a Wheel of Fortune game on the computer. And this was a it was an IBM. But Jeopardy, shout out to my friend Nikki Mayo. We had the Baltimore Association of Black Journalists Jeopardy. So that was always cool. We would talk about different people. We were some of the categories, but that's what made Jeopardy so cool because you could do stuff like that. But I tweeted this. I said the 3 top game shows, no particular order: Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and Price is Right. Now, of course, I saw Supermarket Sweep. I saw Family Feud. I would probably make an argument, honorable mention for Family Feud. But to me, the reason why those shows I named are in that spot because those time slots. Every day at 11 o'clock on CBS, 11 o'clock Eastern time in the morning, there was The Price is Right. Now, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy did switch networks, but you always knew 7 to 8, those were on. For me, it was like right before wrestling. So that's the reason why. Or sometimes it would be on before a big basketball game, big football game. It could be a killing time show. It could be like, all right, I'm gonna watch this to kill time, and I would be interested. The last shows a lot of times before needing to get in the tub to get ready for school tomorrow. So these were shows that were iconic, and that's the reason why I said those are the top 3 shows. I'm gonna take a quick break. Then when I come back, have a couple funny stories that I came across, as well as some more news on Diddy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support this podcast by wearing a t-shirt, whether it's the one that says breaking through glass ceilings or the one that says no ceilings above success, simply go to foryourwear.com. Also, you can support some of your other favorite podcasts and content creators, including Those Wrestling Girls, Seahawk, and the Wrestling Club. And you can support some of your favorite independent wrestlers, including Jay Bougie, Trisha Dora, Chaz the Don. Shoot, all the Pure Ignorance is on there. So go on foryourwear.com, go under personalities, you'll find Brian H. Waters, and buy a t-shirt. And remember, I'll give you a shout out on the show. Podcasters and gamers, we all know it can be intense. We're talking, we're getting hype, we're passionate. Sometimes we need a boost. Well, you can get that by getting Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is the #1 supplement for podcasters and gamers, and they have tons of different flavors, including Strawberry Burst, Tropical Breeze, and Cotton Candy. And you can save 10% by putting in the code Brian H at checkout. So go to rogueenergy.com and enter the code Brian H to save money. All right, I'm back. Make sure you check out all the content from our sponsors. Links are in the description. So I was scrolling through Twitter and I came across this story. 5 people convicted in a $250 million fraud case after the juror had $120,000 in bribe money delivered to her door in a sack. And there's a visual of cash. And they was even told, the juror was told, that there would be more money. Said some woman dropped the money off. Now the juror is a 52-year-old who lived in the suburbs of Minneapolis. And on a Sunday evening, it was a gift bag with flowers and butterflies, pictures of flowers and butterflies. And in it was loaded with 50, 20, 50, and $100 bills. And was presented to a relative. It was a present for the juror. What in the world are people thinking? And they was also told, look, if that person voted to acquit, then, some more money would be coming. Now, these people were convicted because they have more than $250 million in federal funds taken in a scheme. 50 million was recovered, but this was, a COVID-19 scheme. Participation in a sprawling scheme to steal more than 40 million in funds earmarked for hungry children during the pandemic. Absolutely despicable. And if that wasn't worse, they wanted to bribe the juror. So I don't understand what is wrong with people. Talk about an uncomfortable conversation. So I'm wondering what she did with the money. I do know that bribing a juror is punishable. Maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. So that was just dumb. That was dumb. And I ain't gonna say, you never know. Maybe it was tempting, but it's just ridiculous. Like, this is what people are doing. And speaking of dumb, you remember that show America's Dumbest Criminals? This is a little bit old news, but I forgot to talk about it on Monday. Did y'all hear about the Detroit the man, I believe, in Detroit, who was driving on a suspended license, and he had a court date for driving on a suspended license. Now, y'all know a lot of court dates are through Zoom. I can speak. I had my divorce hearing via Zoom. I had a traffic case via Zoom. And this guy. Now, let me paint this picture real quick. When you're on a Zoom call, right, in a traffic case, you essentially are sitting there and you're in the Zoom and you're kind of waiting and they're calling names and you hear everybody's case, just like you are in the court. But then when it came time for this person, he said, "Hold on, let me pull over." Now he's on Zoom on the phone. Now they tell you do not be on your phones. But he's like, "Hold on, let me pull over." And I said, "Wait, what? You told the judge to hold on?" And then the judge said, you're here because you're driving without a license or driving with a suspended license." So he told him, he issued a warrant out for his arrest. And I was just like, wow, what is wrong with people? How dumb can you be? It's just ridiculous. It is. It's just ridiculous. But last but certainly not least, shout out to Howard University. For those who do not know, Howard University removed P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs off of the honorary degree list. Now, that was like a big deal that Diddy had a degree from Howard. It was an honorary degree, all of that other stuff. Not anymore. Not anymore. I was watching Ray J's interview on Shannon Sharp, which is very interesting. I encourage people to go check that out. And he issued a public apology to Cassidy, which I thought was very classy. He said, unfortunately, she's the one who's going through things, and we talking about it, but he says nobody would do that in front of him. And I always say, I hope so. We never could say what we would do, what we won't do. Here's what I'll say. I've been in a position where I proudly prevented a domestic situation to happen. And that's all. We'll just leave it at that. But I proudly did it. And it's one of those things I would hope that men would step up, because there's just certain things people shouldn't go through. And man putting your hands on women, it's never, never, never an excuse. Whether you have a mother that's living, whether you have a sister or not, whether you have a daughter or not, it's never an excuse. So that's why we leave it at that. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Brian A. Schwartz. Thank you for listening. Please hit the subscribe button, but also check out some of the other work I did this week. I had a great week. I will say, I had a great week. Monday, Masked Man Show, I produced. We interviewed the NXT champion, Trick Williams. Wednesday, on a bonus episode of The Ringer Wrestling Worldwide, we interviewed NXT's Jada Parker, who's challenging, could be the first NXT North American Women's Champion. So we talked to her. Also, I produced the show. Shout out to Brian Curtis. He interviewed the legend, Bob Costas. So yeah, I got to talk to Bob Costas this week. So overall, I had a great week. And make sure you check out the Wrestling Realm. Check out TWG Fan Club. And remember, folks, do not let anyone place a ceiling above your success. So long, everybody. Are you a podcaster who is looking to share clips from your show in the simplest way possible? Well, I have the best solution, and that's Opus Clip. Opus Clip allows you to take the link to your show, upload it, and then they will clip off some of the best moments. And it allows you to edit it, change the captions, change the colors, and they also give you a viral score so you know which clip can potentially generate more buzz for your show. So, if you're looking to do that, click the link in the bio, sign up for Opus Clip, and go viral with some of the best content from your show.